Zinna and Volker had always been thrill-seekers. Back on their homeworld of Ranthos 5, they'd skydived off floating cities, wrestled lava-dwelling sand crabs, and once even snuck into the Council of Galactic Elders' secret moonbase just to steal the Grand Elder's ceremonial spoon. So when they started hearing whispers about the legendary Deathworlders, they knew they had to see it for themselves. Humans, the most baffling, dangerous, and oddly charismatic species in the galaxy. Stories of their resilience, ingenuity, and tendency to domesticate anything with legs were widespread. Naturally, Zinna and Volker were determined to meet one in the flesh. Their ship, the Stellar Siren, had no problem getting to Earth. It was the leaving part that turned out to be an issue. Upon landing in what they later learned was called Minnesota, they quickly realized that Earth's terrain was about as kind to their advanced navigation systems as a blender was to a soup spoon. The crash landing left their ship looking like a discarded tin can, and Earth's primitive technology meant repairs were going to take a while. Stranded and in need of shelter, they activated their universal translators and stumbled upon the nearest human domicile, a modest home occupied by a single male named Greg. He was a tall, bearded entity clad in something called a bathrobe, which apparently was not ceremonial battle attire. He greeted them with a calm nod and a sip from his mysterious steaming beverage, which he called coffee. "You guys crash or something?" Greg asked nonchalantly, as if extraterrestrials dropped by every other Tuesday. Zinna straightened her posture. "Yes, we have encountered an unexpected disruption in our departure plans. We require temporary refuge." "Cool, you like nachos?" And that was the beginning of the end. What started as a brief stay to endure the harsh realities of the death world soon spiraled into something far more dangerous. Comfort. Greg introduced them to the wonders of pizza delivery, the unparalleled joys of movie marathons, and the utterly mesmerizing spectacle of cat videos. Earth, despite its wildly unpredictable weather patterns and deeply confusing social rituals, why did Greg yell at a box called referee during sports viewings? Was actually fun. Zinna became obsessed with something called reality television, convinced that human drama was a secret form of ritualistic storytelling. Volker discovered a passion for board games, which she took a little too seriously. Greg banned her from playing Monopoly after she tried to establish an actual tax system in his living room. By the time Greg's friend Kevin, a mechanic with a suspiciously vast knowledge of fixing weird stuff, finished patching up their ship using what Greg called elbow grease and a lot of duct tape, neither of them had any interest in leaving. "So, ship's good to go," Kevin announced, wiping grease off his hands. "You ladies heading back to space?" Zinna and Volker exchanged glances. "Well," Zinna hesitated. "We have decided to engage in an extended research mission," Volker declared. "Specifically the long-term study of human, social dynamics." Greg smirked, flipping a pancake in the air. "You just don't want to leave my cooking." Volker pointed her fork at him. "You are partially correct, Greg. The consumption of a breakfast food is a critical element of our continued survival." And so what began as an intergalactic adventure to meet the terrifying Deathworlders turned into two alien explorers refusing to leave their new favorite planet. Months passed, and what started as a casual coexistence turned into something more. It began with small gestures. Zinna leaving Greg his favorite snacks, Volker pretending not to be fascinated by his weird human mannerisms, and Greg realizing that his life had gotten significantly more interesting. One night, after a particularly intense movie marathon, Greg found himself sitting between the two aliens, their antennae twitching in excitement as they debated which human romance trope was most accurate. "So, Greg coughed, "are we dating now? Is that a thing that's happening?" Zinna and Volker exchanged a look. "Well," Volker said thoughtfully, "we have decided that human companionship is a most fascinating phenomenon." Zinner nodded. Yes, also, you make excellent nachos, which heavily influences our decision-making processes. Greg grinned. Well, that's as good a reason as any. And so, as the stellar siren gathered dust in Greg's backyard, the three of them embraced their bizarre new dynamic. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but sometimes the greatest adventure was simply figuring out how to share a bed when one of you had extra appendages. You know, Greg mused one night, this might be the first time an alien invasion turned into a love triangle. Volker smirked, and yet it appears the human has surrendered completely. Yeah, just pass me the popcorn. A.